of Duke's block, especially when Emma Worthington's in the front row. She is the shorter blocker of the two between her and Jess, and so Wake's going to take advantage of that and try to hit over her or at least hit off of her high hands.
It was one of the points of emphasis for Wake Forest this week. Really tough serve there. And another point for the Blue Devils.
Looks like we had an in-the-net call there on Wake Forest.
Take another look. What do you see here, Christina?
Yeah, it looks like the body of Ava Carney just brushed the net on her way down.
Barely.
Barely.
Carney's been phenomenal for Wake as in her rookie year. Off the tip, Richardson. Back set. Oh, a great dig by Ava Torrance, the graduate student who transferred from Purdue. And another one in the middle for Olivia Frankie, the senior. Pulls the Deacs to within one.
Oh, that was a beautiful defense-to-offense transition. She was up in the air so fast for her setter. First great dig by the Wake defense. Nice dig up again, and then just high arm up and ready. That's a great connection between the Wake setter and middle.
And how about Frankie as a whole? You know, last year she was one of 3 Wake Forest players to start all 31 matches, led the team in hitting percentage, second in blocks, third in kills. And this year maybe not playing as much as perhaps she would have liked, and that's just a credit to the depth of this Wake Forest team and what a weapon she is coming off the bench at times for the Demon Deacons.
Yep, absolutely. And Coach Smart talked about how she is a player you can always rely on. You know, she's taken a different role with this season this year, not being that starting middle, except for obviously tonight. But when she comes on, she knows her role, she does her job, she's always doesn't miss a beat. And that's what being a team player is and buying into the program that Coach Smart has building there.
Called her amazing and fierce. She said that about a lot of her players. Duke by a point here in the first set. Gracie Johnson on the attack. And another error there for Johnson. It was her first of the night. Johnson still searching for those 2 digs. And we talked about for Gracie Johnson being 2 digs away from 1,000 in her career. Does that play at all in her mind tonight?
No, I don't think. She's too much of a team player to even worry about that. And I think that she wants the win for the team over any of the stats for herself. And
Johnson had it blocked. Ricocheted there off of Nikki Underwood. And Wake's got to get it over here. Great play by Carrie Keefe. Crawford again. Nice rally here in this first set. And a point for the Demon Deacons to give them the lead. Really good swing that time by Wake Forest. It was the Deacs on that long rally getting the point.
Yeah, great defensive rally here. You've got some great transition swings from the pins.
Ashley Slater, who's been a really nice infusion for Randy Smart's team, came in kind of halfway through the year, battled some injury, and a couple of weeks ago at Syracuse, hit 700. Unbelievable.
Wow, yeah. Those are some pretty nice numbers.
Member of the ACC All-Freshman team in 2020. The senior from Grand Haven, Michigan, has been a key part of what the Demon Deacons have done this year. 16 overall wins, 7 in the ACC. Third straight year, Wake's won at least 6 ACC games. In back-to-back seasons, they won 7 or more for the first time since 2009-2010. And I mean, this is a Wake Forest team that is really improving steadily under Coach Smart's leadership.
Absolutely. They keep getting better every year, and obviously that's what you want to see. And they're so fun to watch. You know, you watched them in the Pitt game and the UVA game here prior to tonight, and they are just go at it. They are fearless. I think it's a very accurate adjective that she gives all of our players. It's for her team, too. They come at you no matter what. And
we talk about the steady improvement for Wake Forest over the last couple of years. Coach Smart in her 5th year at Wake Forest, and look what they've done under her leadership. 14th, 11th, 8th, and now a chance, you know, to win out and get some help. They got a chance to be a team that's in the conversation for the postseason.
Absolutely, and that's why these last 6 games are so important. They got to take care of business every night, but also take it one game at a time. You can't think too far ahead.
And you see that they went 8-10 in the ACC last year. They did finish above 500 overall and reached the second round of the NIVC, which I think is an interesting talking point, too. There is a couple of postseason tournaments, and when you're trying to build a program, as Wake Forest did, a team that has never in their history made the NCAA tournament. How valuable do you think that was last year for Wake Forest to be able to have some sort of postseason?
Yeah, I think it just gives you more chances to play together, practice together, keep working on what you want to roll over into the next year. And it also gives you some tournament experience because it is a different mindset when it's, lose and go home, win and move on. Like, that's a different mindset that helps you in those moments be prepared for that.
Duke gets the point there to reclaim the lead in this seesaw opening set. Good play at the net by the sophomore Carrie Keefe.
Yeah, really nice read there by Carrie Keefe. They're so used to her hitting really hard. She just changes up the arm speed swing. Nice tip right over the block.
And Gracie Johnson with her second ace of the night. So the Blue Devils lead by 2, and it's been a seesaw opening set. Gracie Blue Devils by 2 early in this opening set. Maybe a future college volleyball star or two in attendance tonight on this Friday night in Durham. Chris Edwards, great to be with Christina Langley and our wonderful ACC Network Extra crew. Blue Devils have scored the last 3 points of this opening set. Christina, what's been your biggest takeaway so far? But in this match, it's kind of really been even to this juncture.
Yeah, it really has. And one thing that stands out is just how much each team are using their middles. They are really clearly focusing on that middle attack. And also just the trading of points. And it's going to now be whatever team can link together 2 or 3 runs is going to make a difference in this first set.
Are you surprised by how much these teams are using their middles early on?
A little, because they have so many dynamic pin hitters, but also not so that it takes the pressure off the pin hitters. So
now one of the big hitters for Duke, Rachel Richardson, couldn't finish the point there. Blocked, but blocked out. We also heard from both head coaches about how important the block was going to be. A blocking error there on Duke, Wake to within a point.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Wake talking about how much they want to slow down Gracie Johnson and Jess Robinson in terms of just how effective they are. They're not going to block them all the time, but slowing them down. And Duke, too, Wake has some big hitters that they want to make sure that they shut down early on.
Great serve there. Maybe a better serve received by the Blue Devils. It results in a point for Wake Forest. And not to sound like a broken record, but both of these coaches really talked about the serve. And for Coach Smart, she said, we can't let everybody have it. They need to be vigilant about first touches and more specific of where they're trying to serve and what players they're trying to target.
Yep, absolutely. And when you're serving, it's not just about serving tough. You can serve tough, but if you serve tough to a really good passer, it's not going to do you much good. So you want to make sure you're serving tough to key players that might put some pressure on the serve-receive team in different ways. For instance, you want to serve their attackers who are pulled back to pass, because if you have to pass and then go in transition to hit, it's going to get you out of your rhythm. And so that can help you as a defensive team. Just
like that right there, another ace for this Duke team, the Blue Devils, with their 4th ace already of the opening set.
Yep, serving is going to be the key to this game in order to put the other team into a scramble position and give yourself as a defensive team a chance to get that conversion for a point.
Christina Barrow to serve again for Duke. Gracie Johnson on the back row there. And another point for the Demon Deacons. Wake to within 1. By the way, Gracie Johnson got the dig a moment ago. We'll talk more about it as you saw her 1,000th career dig there. But look at Wake finishing the point of the net.
Big block there by Wake Forest. Just nowhere to go for the Duke offense around that block.
There is Gracie Johnson, the 13th player in Duke history now, with 1,000 career kills and 1,000 career digs. Running another chapter in her already storied career as a Blue Devil. Johnson again. Johnson with another kill. And that phenomenal career for Gracie Johnson continues, Christina. She has done it all in a Duke uniform.
That is awesome. She is so high on the leaderboard there for the Duke Blue Devils and just could not ask for a better person to have those accolades.
Yeah, great teammate, what Coach Nagel called her, one of the 3 captains on this Duke team, as the Blue Devils stretch their lead out to 3 and prompt the Demon Deacons to call a timeout. So Wake down by 3. Coach Smart sensing maybe the momentum on the Duke side. What is she going to tell her club here in this timeout?
Just settle down. They've been playing really, really well. A few key moments when they're maybe making some errors that resulted in a play that they don't want to get a Duke a run on, but just settle down and trust your play. Take care of the ball on our side of the net. Not much more you can do.
And we talked at the top of the broadcast about the importance of winning games down the stretch. Maybe really a lot more important for Wake Forest. You see the remaining schedule for the Demon Deacons, and look at the RPI of the teams that they're going to play. These are games that while, yes, they have to win, really they can't afford to lose them if they want a chance at an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament.
Right, especially toward the last home stretch of the season. RPI rankings really make a difference in how the committee looks at what teams are going to be in the tournament, and so losing to a team that has a pretty low RPI is not going to help your cause. But winning in an effective manner, in a authoritative manner, is also going to show the committee, like, hey, we're good and we can really take care of business. So it just helps your cause. But all you can control is winning games, and you have to let the rest of the cards lie how they'll lie.
And remember, Wake Forest has never in the history of the program made the NCAA tournament in volleyball. So they're trying to accomplish a feat that's never been done and maybe change the narrative around that program too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be huge for that program and just another step in the progression that Coach Smart has built so far there.
Really, for me, and talking with Coach Smart, super impressed by the job that she's done in such a short amount of time in Winston-Salem. Feels like it's not a matter of if they're going to get over that hump and make the tournament, just a matter of when do they do it.
Yep, exactly. I mean, they've got all the pieces to do it, and you're seeing those sparks and those moments with this team very consistently. It's just going to take some time to build those dynasty programs.
Blue Devils by 3 as we get back to first set action, and right out of the timeout, it's Ava Carney, another one of those fabulous freshmen for the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, Ava Carney is just such a fun player to watch. She flies, and there she hits line right over Emma, which we talked about, shorter blocker. And also Duke plays a bit of a rotation defense, and so they give line up. She took full advantage of that.
Talk to me more about the rotation defense, Christina, and what that means from a coaching perspective.
Yeah, so when you're in a rotation defense, it means that you're going to shift your middle back player toward the right back line a little bit more. Your right back is going to stay up near the 10-foot line to cover tips, and the blockers are going to give line since you have rotated over your middle back player, and so you're expecting your defense to take care of the line, your block to take care of a deep cross-court swing.
Wake to within 1 until now, right there in the middle. The Blue Devils with Jess Robinson. Robinson's been a great addition to this Duke team. We mentioned earlier the transfer from Michigan.
She really has, and look how fast her arm swing is. I mean, she's hitting that ball right out of the setter's hands. Good job for the Wake Forest block, recognizing the going behind the setter, but she's just hits right over them.
Duke by 2. Carney. And that one got hung up in the standard of the backboard. One of the unique features here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Dumped over, and a phenomenal idea and a good play as Ryan Baker, who leads the team in assists, gets her 38th kill of the year.
Yeah, and she is not afraid to attack when she's in the front row, and here's another great example. And nice jump set. No Duke block goes up with her. And she's a front row attacker, so the Duke block needs to recognize that and put their hands up when she's going to go jump and possibly attack. So great vision by Ryan Baker on that dump.
And she gets the ace right on cue for the Demon Deacons. Going back to that last point, though, on the front row attack there by the setter, how much of that is, from a setter standpoint, is a read, is a feel of what the defense is going to do against you?
It's definitely a read and a feel. So when you're jumping in a setting, you're out of your peripheral vision, or sometimes even turning your head to look. You're looking to see, is the middle with me? Is the middle released? Or is the middle jumping with me? And based on that read, you're going to make your next decision.
And a point there, the Demon Deacons all of a sudden storming back. Remember, they were down 3 points. Coach Smart called a really key timeout, and it seems to have refocused this Wake Forest team.
Yep, and just credit to their fearlessness that they have and that, fight and don't give up attitude. Great example right here.
Now prompting Duke to call the timeout. The Demon Deacons have scored the last 3 points, and now Jolene Nagel wants to settle her team down. What do you think Coach Nagel is telling her club right now?
I think she's just giving them a clear game plan, right? Like, it's not like any one team is taking full control of this game. It's very much a chess match between blockers and hitters, and so she's going to evaluate, all right, who's on the other side of the court, who are their key attackers, where do we think they're going to go, and just give the team some information so they get a side out and get the ball back on their side of the court.
One of the things Coach Nagel said to us this week prior to the match was that she feels like this is a match every year when Duke plays Wake Forest. Both these teams just seem to have a great battle. Feels like Wake Forest really gets fired up to play another Big Four Tobacco Road type battle.
Yeah, they do. There's always a good match whenever Duke plays Wake Forest, and so. But that's the whole ACC this year, right? You cannot take a single night off against any team in the ACC, and that just gives credit to how good this conference is becoming, led by those top teams, Pitt, Louisville, Florida State right now, Georgia Tech. And so you just got to be ready to play every night, every weekend that you're on the court.
And you see the series history there. Duke's won 4 straight, 14 of the last 16, but not indicative of how close these matches really have been between these two clubs. They've been 3, 4, 5. I mean, and even the 3-set matches have been tight matches as well.
Oh, yeah, they're always a battle. So that record does not indicate the level of play and the dogfight that both these teams have when they play each other.
Any big adjustments coming out of the timeout for the final stretch run of this first set?
First ball context, you can run your offense.
Float serve there for Johnson. And in the middle, a great dig by Farrell to keep it alive. Carney short-armed that one. Look at Gracie Johnson laying out to make the play. Good rally here. And the Blue Devils have tied it up.
Yes, and love that Duke offense went to Jess Robinson. You know, Gracie Johnson's flying all over the court to pick up those tips from the Wake Forest side, and so she's going to be tanked, and so you go to your middle who's in quick in transition while the Wake Forest defense still trying to set up. Really good decision by Emma Worthington.
Coach Nagel said she wants to have her whole team invested in every single point, make it a total team effort. Blue Devils did that there. But Wake Forest comes right back with Ashley Slater.
Yeah, great response by Wake Forest. And exactly what she was talking about earlier, by their body language, they look loose, they look confident. Really nice set, nice cut shot there, sharp cross. Really good vision by Ashley Slater.
Wake by a point. Fleming had it blocked. Johnson. One official had it in, one had it out. It's out, and it's a 2-point lead for the Demon Deacons. And will Coach Nagel want a timeout? She will.
Yeah, good timeout. Slow the momentum of Wake Forest at this moment. Try to regain some composure here and put a game plan into place to get that ball back on your side.
This is a Duke team that's been playing really, really well as of late. The Blue Devils have won 3 in a row. They've won 4 out of their last 5. And it's a team that was able to take a little bit of time off. Duke had that odd Wednesday, Friday schedule last week with those 2 big rival games against North Carolina and NC State here in Cameron. But maybe you wonder this late in the year, is all that time off good? Is all that time off maybe bad, or somewhere in between?
It's probably somewhere in between. I mean, both of those games were not just physically taxing, but they were emotionally taxing, as every game is in the ACC, but especially when you have those big rivalry games. I mean, adrenaline is at an all-time high, and so having those extra few days are so helpful to rest and recuperate your body, your mind, but also it kind of gets you out of your rhythm, right? You're used to that Friday, Sunday routine, and you get your rhythm, and whenever your routine changes, it can kind of throw you off, but, you know, that's just life, right? So you can't have those excuses, and that's going to be tournament time. Like, you're going to be thrown with all different curveballs, and so you got to be able to respond and bounce back.
Where does Wake Forest go up by 2 points here? Where do the Demon Deacons go to try to close out this first set?
I mean, they've been really effective from the middle. They've been effective from the pins, and so I think it's going to be, let's keep it simple and do our job well and just put the pedal to the metal, take care of business. And if your shot's not there, don't try to do too much. Put it in a place on the Duke side that's going to make them scramble and hopefully get a free ball back on return so that you can then run your middle. And you've got Olivia Frankie in the middle front who's been dynamite this first set, and so I would say feed it to her.
Duke gets Riley Cadle in for the first time tonight. Cadle, another one of those Duke players that's kind of coming off the bench and playing at a high level, but right now Wake Forest, after that initial timeout, has turned up the pressure, and it is set point for the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, great serve by Ava Carney, getting that overpass, and then Olivia Frankie just taking care of business at the net.
Wake serving for the set. Johnson off the tip, keeps the Blue Devils alive. No surprise that it's Gracie Johnson that's keeping it going for the homestanding Blue Devils. becoming the 13th player in program history earlier this set with 1,000 career digs and 1,000 career kills. Now Duke needing another point here to keep the set going. In the middle, a good dig that time by Underwood. Bryant. Now Johnson just bumps it over. This way, blocked out. And the Demon Deacons claim the opening set. Wake comes storming back and wins the first. Number 2, Kalani Willock, the junior from Keller, Texas. Left-handed swing there by Carrie Keefe. In the middle, Gracie Johnson. And that is in for Johnson. No surprise, leading the Blue Devils in kills tonight. That equals the match high of the 5th of the night for the Blue Devil graduate student.
Yeah, nice swing by Carrie Keefe, but good job by Wake Forest slowing down that ball. And then, of course, Gracie Johnson out of the middle back, just so effective and strong.
Gets the service back for the Blue Devils. And an ace. Christina Barrow with another one for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, Christina Barrow, she's been so effective from that serving line. Really has a tough float serve and just drops, and it's really hard to recognize where it's going to drop.
Is that float serve something you can teach, or is that sort of a natural ability that you have to have?
Definitely you can teach it. You know, it's all about how your hand contacts the ball. You want to have a really stiff hand and wrist. You make contact with the ball and just pop it over, give it like a little knuckleball float. Don't hit it on the side or the bottom because that's going to spin. So dead center, back of the ball, just pop it. You also want to aim for right over the net between the 2 antennas, so that really nice low float serve is hard to read.
Another one right there for Wake Forest from Ava Torrance. Carrie Keefe, cross court and in for the point. That left-handed swing for Keefe there is so tough to defend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's being a left-handed hitter on the right side. It's really just like you're an outside attacker with the right hand. You have some more shot selections because the ball is able to come across your body.
Oh, a good pancake there by the Blue Devils. Madison Bryant flips it over. Blocked in. Another point for Duke. The block big for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, nice pancake there by Maddie Bryant. And then again, Jess Robinson and Rachel Richardson doing it on the block. Nice, solid, all 4 hands up. And Jess Robinson is so good around closing the block and turning her hands back into the court. So when that ball does ricochet off, it goes back into the side of the court, not out of bounds.
And heard the Blue Devils communicating there, out. And it's Duke who has claimed 5 of the first 6 points here in this second set. Really nice bounce back start to the set for Duke after Wake seemed to have captured a lot of momentum in set 1.
Duke's has had these moments all season where their back's against the wall and they've been able to fight back and recompose themselves, and it's all about how you respond.
Wake responding nicely there with Paige Crawford. Another point puts the Deacs on the board. Yeah, it was interesting to hear Coach Smart talk about Paige Crawford. We talked earlier, figuring things out, working with the arm swing. No one works harder than Paige Crawford, she said, but also is a perfectionist, and which I imagine in sports, whatever your sport of choice, being a perfectionist in sports doesn't always equate.
Yeah, you want to perfect your craft, but part of perfecting your craft means you're going to make mistakes sometimes. Whenever you learn a new skill, you're never going to be perfect at it right away. And sometimes it's like a wound, right? Like when you learn something new, it's going to look really ugly at first, and it's going to get better and better, and you're going to be further along than you were when you started. But having that perfectionist mindset can sometimes cause some undue stress, and so she's got all the, having that work ethic is going to serve her well these next few years at Wake Forest, because she's got all the makings to be a great outside hitter for them.
Could be one of the best in school history by the time it's already done. You see what she did against Louisville on October the 20th against the 5th-ranked team in the country, almost a double-double. And the Demon Deacons pulled it within 2 on another for a powerful line swing that time. It was Carney, or beg your pardon, it was Ogogar right down the line, and look at this swing.
Beautiful slide. Oh, great connection, great timing with her setter, and just rips it. That was a textbook slide.
Ogogar, that 5th-year player out of San Antonio, pulls Wake to within 2. Gracie Johnson answers for Duke.
Yeah, Gracie Johnson attacking the line. Again, you have Ogogar and Ryan right there blocking, and so you're going to try to attack the shorter of the two blockers, which is going to be Ryan Baker. So good execution there by Gracie Johnson.
Hitting 286 for the match thus far. Duke hitting a blistering 571 to start this second set. Johnson again off the tip, and Duke leads by 4.
And Gracie Johnson really attacking that line shot against Ryan Baker's hands. Went over her the first hit right before this, and then hands right off the block there in that second swing.
And Wake Forest will call the timeout with the Blue Devils having seized a lot of momentum.
Doing her job, hitting over 300 out of the back court, out of the front court. She's doing it all.
And in that first set, Christina, this her 1,000th career dig, becoming the 13th player in Duke history with 1,000 career kills and 1,000 career digs, and right now pacing all players with 7 kills in the match. Blue Devils have the serve, leading by 4. Wake calling the timeout there to try to quell some of this Duke momentum. And Carney off the timeout, plays it short, blocked, and then into the net there were the Blue Devils to give Wake Forest the serve back. And we saw Wake call a timeout in that first set that really changed the momentum of that first set, and Coach Smart hoping for a similar type scenario here in set number 2.
Yeah, just kind of having that moment to breathe and reset yourselves is key, and you want to do it before that lead gets too large.
Johnson had it tipped, and the Blue Devils get the point.
And there you see again Gracie Johnson going off the high hands of that line blocker, which right now is Ryan Baker, being really effective with that shot.
Gracie Johnson this weekend will play in her 132nd career match. Blue Devils will have another match here on Sunday to complete the weekend. And when Gracie Johnson does that, she'll be one of the most storied in terms of length of career players in Duke history. Here's a swing by Carrie Keefe. Good dig by the Demon Deacons. And that one ricochets around a couple of times, and Wake Forest gets the point. But to finish the thought on Gracie Johnson, when she plays in her 132nd career match, she's going to pass current associate head coach for Duke, Kelly Katnack-Johnson, for the all-time Duke record in games played.
Wow.
How about that?
That's a pretty cool stat.
Wake Forest trying to battle back here, trailing by 3. Terrific serve. Lizzie Fleming tried to punch it over. Carrie Keefe digs it out. Johnson, cross court. Good rally brewing here. Carrie Keefe unable to terminate the point. A phenomenal dig by Wake Forest. And a point there for the Demon Deacons as Worthington stuck her hand a little too far over the net, broke the plane, and the Deacons within 2. We were talking a moment ago about Kelly Katnack-Johnson, the Blue Devil Associate Head Coach, 2010 ACC Player of the Year, 3-time All-America. Had the record of most career games played until somebody by the name of Gracie Johnson came along.
Knowing Kelly, I think she'll be pretty happy that if someone's going to break her record, it'll be Gracie Johnson.
And that one short-armed into the net by Ashley Slater to give the Blue Devils a 3-point lead. What about the experience on this Duke staff? Jolene Nagel, who's closing in on 700 career wins, and you got a phenomenal player in Kelly Katnack-Johnson, who's now transitioned to the coaching staff, and the same could be said for Jeremy Garcia and the rest of Jolene Nagel's staff.
Yeah, and you've got Maka there also leading the defensive side of the team based on her experience as libero. You know, not many better people you want to be coached by, having that experience and that knowledge of the game.
Yeah, hard to forget it. Mackenzie Cole, phenomenal in her Duke career as a defensive specialist and libero for Jolene Nagel's club.
Yeah, and it's a really cool role now at the NCAA. She was their director of operations, and now she's in a coaching role, still holding on to some of those duties, but just being able to bring in some more knowledge and experience and expertise for the team.
How much would you have liked that rule to have changed a few years ago when you were still in the coaching game?
Oh, it would have been fun. Just be on the court and actually hit a ball and not just on the sidelines.
You could probably go out and hit a ball now or two now.
It hurts a little bit more the next day. Not as pretty.
The word on the street, Christina, is that earlier this year there was an alumni game here with all the Duke volleyball alumni, and you were the MVP.
We burned those tapes so no one can find them. But yes, the alumni match was awesome. Our team won. It was a great match. We're proud the mid-2000s team beat the late 90s, and we'll hold it over their heads until next year.
1 year of bragging rights.
That's right.
Blue Devils by 2 here in the second set. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Friday night. And look at Duke on the block again. We talked about the importance of the block for both teams. And there it was the Blue Devils with Carrie Keefe extending the lead.
Yeah, really nice job by the Duke block. Carrie Keefe and Jess Robinson turning their hands back into the court. We saw a few missed blocks in the first set. Nice adjustment by the blocking in the second set.
14 blocks per match over the last 2 for the Blue Devils. That's really picking up for Jolene Nagel's team, and so is the momentum right now. Once again in the middle, Rachel Richardson helping to get it done for the Blue Devils. Flipped over. Good effort by Crawford. Keefe off the tip. And Duke extending their lead. Maybe time for a timeout here on the Wake Forest side of things.
Yeah, I think you got to slow the momentum down, and on cue they call it. And so, yeah, good timeout by Wake. Slow Duke's momentum. Try to regroup, recompose yourself, get a good game plan in, and maybe just kind of ice Duke's serve a little bit.
Saw a moment ago Duke scored the last 4 points of this second set. What is Duke doing so effectively right now to pull away and create this lead?
Well, their blocking is definitely picked up. They're having cleaner blocks, turning them back into the court. And then Carrie Keefe is getting a little bit more involved. Had some big swings, smart swings on the right side. I think just playing a cleaner game on their side of the court.
And Carrie Keefe has been phenomenal for Duke as of late, Christina. 10 or more kills in 13 of her last 14 matches, including 4 kills here tonight. She's been really great for Jolene Nagel's club all year long.
Oh my gosh, she has just, I mean, she's always been such a stud player, but really come alive this second half of the season in both the right front and the right back. I mean, they use her and Gracie Johnson as a backcourt attack, and that's huge. You essentially have 4, if not 5 attackers at all times on the court, and effective attackers. I mean, those are some pretty big swings they take out of the backcourt, and so having that as your offensive weapon as an option is huge.
Now, look at the lineage as we keep up with the Keefes here. Michaela played at Stanford, Caitlin played at Stanford, James played basketball at Stanford, and now Carrie's playing volleyball here at Duke. I mean, I don't know how she came east, but the Blue Devils are certainly glad she did. Then there's mom and dad, more Stanford alums playing volleyball and basketball. So really, Carrie had no choice but to play volleyball at college, right?
Yeah, or some sport. Some sport. I mean, great gene pool. How could you not play sports with that type of lineage? And it'll be so fun, I'm sure, for her family now that Stanford will be in the conference next year, making the trip back out west or out east and getting to see her play a little bit more.
Yeah, so some mixed emotions, I'm sure, for mom and dad and brothers and sisters when the Blue Devils take on the Cardinal beginning next year in ACC action. And once again, the block creating havoc for the Blue Devils. Took a little out of sorts here. Richardson will try to terminate the point and does.
Really nice transition defense by the Duke side in an out-of-system pass. And so, everyone knew it was going to Rachel Richardson. She takes a nice high swing at it off of high hands. Good conversion.
Wake also out of timeouts now in this second set, so they can't do anything to stop the Blue Devil momentum if Duke can keep building it. But right now, Wake Forest trying to create some momentum of their own there in the middle. Olivia Frankie has been great for the Deacs tonight.
She really has. She has been getting it done offensively. And look, she is so fast. Watch, she was up almost as the ball was coming into the setter's hands, and that quick offensive transition does not allow the Duke block to set up as quickly as it can.
Left-handed serve there for Farrell. Left-handed swing by Keefe, and blocked out, they say. We're talking about Carrie Keefe a moment ago. She's back to serve now. Jolene Nagel saying this week that she comes in early for extra reps, watches a lot of film, and really put in the work in the summer to become that 6th rotation player for the Blue Devils.
And that's allowed them to have so many more offensive weapons. Having her play all 6 rotations, number one, her serve is really effective. And number two, it gives you another offensive option in the backcourt. So now you have Gracie Johnson and Carrie Keith both able to hit out of the backcourt, while you still also have 2 attackers front court. So you can go anywhere, essentially, for Emma.
It feels like it takes a lot of pressure off some of those players for the Blue Devils.
Absolutely. And when you're out of system, a lot of times you don't want to go to the outside because the whole world knows where it's going. So now you can go to Gracie or go to Carrie Keith, and they're going to take a big grip at the ball. And so it just keeps the defense honest.
Duke by 6 here, trying to even up this match. Torrance sends it over. Powerful swing in the middle for Jess Robinson.
Wow, she's been really doing a really good job with that behind the setter attack, up so high, right through the block. If you're a young middle, watch how early both of these middles, Jess Robinson and Olivia Frankie, are up with the setter. That's how you want to play as a middle.
It just comes with experience, doesn't it? And the reps and learning, feeling your way out in that position.
Yeah, absolutely. The reps and also the trust. Like, as a middle, you're going to have to be up in the air whether or not you get the ball. You can't wait to see if they're going to get set and then do your transition. That's a lot of hard work to be a middle hitter. Or an outside, yeah, you'll do your transition when you get set.
Down the line and right in front of Gracie Johnson.
What's also really important about these middle players is when you're up in the air, regardless of if you get set or not, it holds the other team's middle. Because when you're up in the air, the other team's middle can't release until they know you're not going to get set. And so it helps the pin hitters maybe have a little bit more space or get a hole in the block.
A couple of unforced errors for the Blue Devils. Recently there was one that was hit a little long as Robinson attempted to go cross court. All of a sudden, Wake Forest to within 4.
And there's that fearless, don't give up mindset that Coach Smart talked about, and that's on full display with the Wake Forest side.
So that you would love to have a team full of poker players. That way nobody knows what your hand is. Don't give away your tell early in the match. Got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And right there, Wake, with some miscommunication, allows Duke to reclaim the 5-point lead.
And I love that mindset that Coach Smart talked about, because looking at the score, worrying about every point, yes, it's important, but you want to play every point the same. You want to play every point hard and focused, and regardless of the score. And so if you take that factor out of it, then you know you're just going to play hard and play focused no matter what the situation is.
Big swing there by Carney. And on the rebound, the back and forth, the Blue Devils put it away. They Duke 5 points away from a second set victory. Madison Bryant back to serve. Over 1,000 career digs earlier this year. Second year transfer for the Blue Devils. That's out, and Wake right back.
Nice decision by Ryan Baker on the Wake Forest side, setting the middle, feeding the middle. Even when it wasn't a perfect pass, you saw that Emmy Agogar was up in the air, so Ryan had the option to set her, and a lot of times when the setter is off the net, people don't expect her to set the middle, and so that's the time you want to set the middle, when the other team doesn't expect it.
Set for Johnson, and blocked out. Again, a little bit of lack of communication there on a couple of points by Wake Forest.
Yeah, I think it's just some folks thinking one person's going to play it and the other person's going to play it, and then the last second they realize, oh, I got to go play. And so a little bit of the hesitancy that's probably not characteristic of this team, and maybe because of the score right now, they're getting a little tense. So they just got to throw that out the window and just play. Even if you crash into each other, just go and play the ball.
Another good dig there by Bryant. Carrie Keefe, that's in. And Duke 3 points away from a second set victory.
Yeah, nice job by Carrie Keefe, ripping that ball line right past the block.
Another tremendous swing there by Keefe. Half a dozen kills tonight. And Wake Forest in the middle comes right back. The middles continue to be vital for both of these clubs.
Yeah, and Coach Smart talked about Olivia Frankie being really an offensive middle, and there are some games where she hasn't played this season because they've needed more of a blocking middle in Dior Charles and Emmy Agogar, but she has really turned it on the offense for this Wake Forest side tonight.
Only 7 total attacks over the last 4 matches for Frankie Christina, but she's got 5 kills tonight. She's certainly playing very well for Coach Smart's club.
Yeah, and hitting over 300, which is really good for a middle. And so they're really feeding her, and that's definitely part of their game plan tonight.
And you see the numbers on Frankie with a .333 hitting percentage. Gracie Johnson with the service error there. One of the rare service errors for the Blue Devils so far tonight. Duke's been tremendous with 6 aces so far, but 4 service errors. And Wake right back with the service error. Their 4th of the match, so 8 combined errors, and it's that fine line you walk right between wanting to serve tough but also not wanting to give away points.
Right, absolutely. And Coach Smart talked about that. You want to serve tough, but they can't afford to miss a lot of serves. And sometimes there's good errors and there's bad errors, right? And a good error is where it's over the net but just out of bounds. But even Wake Forest in this moment, they can't afford to miss serves.
Especially when it's set point for Duke, and Duke has multiple set points coming up here. And that's always been a hallmark of what Duke has wanted to do under Jolene Nagel, is be one of those teams that really serves tough. We asked her earlier this week kind of what the game plan was, and she said, haven't really figured it out yet. Still had a lot of film to watch, but obviously this is a Duke team that is very good on the service line. Carrie Keefe has been very good tonight for the Blue Devils, and she terminates set number 2 and draws the Blue Devils even.
Duke serve really got Wake Forest out of their offense. They couldn't get their middles involved as much as they wanted to. So that first ball contact is going to be big for Wake Forest in this 3rd set.
Gracie Johnson got us going here in set number 3. What a play by Madison Bryant to keep the point alive. And off the slide, tremendous swing by Emmy Agogar.
Ooh, that slide she has down. I mean, she is getting on top of the ball, right in line with her shoulder. The timing is impeccable, and her arm strength is just incredible.
Coming off a season high, or off a phenomenal match, 17 kills against Virginia on Sunday. Continuing to play really well for this Wake Forest club, and look at the Demon Deacons with back-to-back points to start the 3rd set.
Yeah, and Paige Crawford, who leads the team in aces, she's going to be a big threat behind the service line, and she needs to be. Wake has to serve tougher against Duke so they can play some defense and slow Duke offense down.
Talked about Crawford really ad nauseum tonight. Went over 500 career kills earlier this season against Miami. Lizzie Fleming in the middle. Wake sets. Now Carney finesses one, finds a soft spot, and it's Wake who scored the first 3.
And really good vision by Carney on that shot. You know, Duke's left front plays pretty tucked in. You can see Rachel Richardson there, and she just puts it in that sharp area 4 spot where no one's at. Really smart shot by Carney.
Wise beyond her years, the rookie playing like an upperclassman for Wake Forest, and Rachel Richardson responds for the Blue Devils there.
Yeah, and if I'm Wake, I would just, if I'm Wake outside attackers, if a big swing isn't there, I would keep attacking that area 4 on Duke's side, because they leave it wide open because it's such a hard shot to hit, but attack it. Make them scramble at least so you get a out-of-system ball back on your side of the court.
Another big swing by Agogar. Blue Devils able to dig that one out. Now Richardson. Back row attack. That's out. Back-to-back points for the homestanding Blue Devils.
Oh, and that was a great look and a great idea by Wake's offense. You know that Paige Crawford wants that one back. Just hits it a little bit on her way down, hits the bottom of the ball, which is why it sailed out.
Dumped over. It skimmed the top of the net there. And Carney, whoa, what another shot. Really high leverage shot there by Carney.
Absolutely, she flies, and right there, she just flies and hits right over the block, it looked like, and we'll see on the replay here. Great elevation, kind of cut shot over the block, that deep corner is always the spot that you want to go to.
She did there. Wake by 2. Johnson with a tough serve received. Now Keefe had it blocked. Bryant for Keefe again. Torrance was right there for the Demon Deacons. Carney's had the hot hand. Tough ball at the net. Well, not a whole lot that Robinson could do there. And out. Duke gets the point. Really good rally that time.
Yeah, good rally, good coverage by both teams, especially on the Duke side. You saw 2 covered balls there when their hitters hit it right into the block. Those are the plays. They don't show up on the stat charts, but they help your hitters' confidence, and they're those scramble plays that can make all the difference.
Ooh, powerful swing. That one was tipped. And Wake gets the point. Blue Devils do not protest. Not a whole lot you could do there on that tremendous swing from back row. Here's another look.
Yeah, Paige Crawford hitting really nice high hands on that ball. And kind of a redemption swing there from that first backcourt attack earlier, a few plays ago, that she had out of bounds. Always nice to get a little redemption on your swing there.
Dumped over. Good idea by Worthington. Wake was ready for it. And again, off the tip, Carney with another kill. Her 10th already. She's the first Demon Deacon in double figures.
And there you see again, Carney going line. Emma Worthington, the smaller of the blockers, so Carney does not want to hit cross into Jess Robinson's hands. So attacking that line is a really smart shot.
Blue Devils get on the board there. Ryan Baker, one of the key leaders. Interesting, if you talk about Baker being a key leader as a sophomore, shows you just how young this Wake Forest team is, but shows a lot of depth that they're cultivating as well.
Absolutely. And another backward attack by Paige Crawford there, and they're really going to her in this rotation.
Now Fish, blocked, but blocked out. 7-4. And Wake knows how important this match is, Christina. Coach Smart talked about, hey, we know we've got to go 6-0 to close down the regular season to be in the conversation for an NCAA tournament.
Yep, absolutely. It is a key match because every win, every game this last stretch of the season is kind of do or die to get into have your chance to get into the tournament. You're still a bubble team, but at least you might have a chance.
And then it's the same story on the Duke side of things as well. I mean, Duke obviously wants to win as Gracie Johnson with another kill here. Her 13th of the match, just another powerful swing by Johnson. But Duke does have the luxury of maybe a few more RPI games that are still out there for the Blue Devils where that would really bolster their resume.
Yeah, a few of the teams that the Blue Devils are playing in these last 6 games have a higher RPI than the teams Wake is playing. So that definitely helps your cause to get into the tournament. You still got to win them, but you might have a slightly higher chance as that bubble team to get in.
There's the remaining RPI games for the Blue Devils, and the one you circle there is at 5th-ranked Louisville. I mean, that's the big carrot that's dangling in front of the Blue Devils.
That's the difference maker. That's the one that if you've got a really good shot to clinch a good argument to be in the tournament, that's the one you got to win.
Gracie Johnson with back-to-back kills. And 3 straight putaways now for number 7, who has 15 kills tonight. Man, where would this Duke club be without Gracie Johnson?
She is just such an impact player in all aspects, as a leader and as a player, on and off the court.
A little long there on the serve. And just does everything. Offense, defense. As you mentioned, a leader in the locker room, one of the 3 captains on this Duke team.
Yeah, a player that you can go to. You should put your team on her back when they're struggling. She carries a really heavy load with this team, and they know that she's just a steady person that they can always rely on. And she will do anything for this team. You talked about the individual stats, and she would much rather have a team win than any type of individual accolade.
Right on cue, Gracie Johnson with another kill. And I think what's most impressive, too, is Johnson is really at the top of every team's scouting report. Got to find a way to slow down Gracie Johnson. And yet she continues to put up great numbers. And what a play by the Blue Devils to keep it alive. Now Wake scrambling back. Blocked in. What a rally. What a point for Duke.
Wow. Get you some syrup with that pancake. That was a great up. And just nice high press over the block. Nowhere for that to go. Seal the deal in that play.
And Wake Forest calling the timeout. Maybe we're going to get a review here. I beg your pardon. So we will go to the monitor to take a look there. And my guess, Christina, probably looking at that pancake that we saw from the Blue Devils.
Yeah.
So Wake is going to use that green challenge card here and challenge the previous play. And we're going to take a look at a replay here in a moment as well. Really a kind of a swing point here. Duke feels like they've got a lot of momentum after that tremendous play. We'll take another look at the replay here.
Ooh, that's a tough angle. You can see the Wake Forest hands.
I think they are going to reverse it and give the point to the Demon Deacons.
That's a big momentum shift right there.
Now let's take another look. This is tremendously zoomed in. Wow.
Tough one to call.
Obviously have the luxury of replay, and that's why you have it, to get those calls right.
Yeah, absolutely. And great job by the Wake Forest staff for calling that replay and shifting that momentum. I mean, that's a big swing right now and a pivotal point in this set.
So each team with 2 challenges remaining. Wake has the 1-point lead and has the serve, but a tremendous effort by Emma Worthington. The transfer from Cornell, the graduate transfer for Duke. Worthington sets Lizzie Fleming in the middle. Really good play there by Farrell to keep it alive. Carrie Keefe, and Duke has squared it up.
I mean, just hammers it with one block up. That is a ball you don't want to get in front of.
Now Gracie Johnson. 2 aces for Johnson tonight, but an error there. And again, that goes back to serving tough but not giving away points. Johnson, we mentioned the team leader in aces coming in at 35, but also 74 errors this season too.
Yeah, it's kind of high risk, high reward, and at some point you want to kind of temper that, but you also want to be aggressive in your serve, and sometimes that means you hit a ball a little bit long.
Carney. Johnson on the back row up to play it. They'll set Keefe. Good dig on the back row. Carney again with the right hand. Worthington in the middle for Fleming. One of the unsung heroes of this Duke team, Lizzie Fleming, ties it up at 10.
And great awareness, one by Lizzie Fleming being up behind Emma Worthington. Watch this. It's an off-the-net pass. Lizzie Fleming still gets up in the air, and Emma recognizes that and sets her. No block, really, that gets in front of her to slow that ball down.
And her head coach, Jolie Nagel, had nothing but positive things to say about Lizzie Fleming. Works super hard, does all of the right things. She said she touches every ball and makes the block have to stay with her because she's going to get the ball. And to Coach Nagel's point earlier, doesn't make many, if any, hitting errors.
Yeah, she's a really efficient hitter. I remember one game last year, she did not have a single error and had like 15 attempts. It was really impressive.
How rare is that to have a middle that is so consistent?
I think it's pretty rare. I mean, in any hitter. Ooh, nice spot by Carrie Keefe there in that short area 2 spot on Wake Forest's side.
Another look. That's a really good play.
That's a really good spot, and that's a ball that, as a defensive team, you never want to get scored upon on a free ball like that.
Duke gives the point right back in this seesaw third set. Lizzie Fleming back in for the Blue Devils. It's a little bit of a run of service errors here for both of these clubs.
Yeah, you can tell both sides. Top of the list in the game plan is serve tough, and they're trying to, but at some point you got to really eliminate those errors and give yourself a chance.
That one served in. Carney off the tip, and another point for the Neiman Deacons.
Yeah.
Carney so impressive into double-figure kills for the Neiman Deacons tonight.
Really nice play, and watch the balls kind of pass to the right front, and nice reversal of the flow by Ryan Baker, and shoots it to the outside pin. So when the ball gets passed to the right front, the blockers tend to shift with you, and she kicks it out to the outside pin, so a little bit of a reversal of flow. And Jess Robinson just could not close that block, leaving it wide open for Carney.
And look at Carney trying to get it across, could not. But Coach Smart for Wake Forest just raved about her freshman in Carney. What I wrote down in my notes was wait until she gets another year under her belt. As good as she is now, imagine that leap she's going to take from her rookie year to her sophomore season.
Oh, she's going to be a fun player to watch. And, you think about the season, right? She hasn't had a spring season yet. And that spring season that she'll have next semester will be huge for her development, because that's when you really work on a lot of your technique and your connection with the setter and the defensive rhythm and offensive rhythm. And so having that spring going into her sophomore year is going to be huge to develop her.
And not just the work on the court, but being able to have a full year inside the weight room and all the other things that come with being a college athlete.
Absolutely. And the game moves so fast when you're a freshman, going from high-level club to your freshman year. It moves fast, and so that sophomore year, things have to slow down.
Man, the Blue Devils have certainly relied on Gracie Johnson all year, but look at her numbers over the last 3 matches. You see her offensive numbers, Christina. 9 digs also against North Carolina, 14 digs against NC State, and already 7 here tonight.
Yeah, it just goes to show the complete player that she is. She's really strong in defense. She's a reliable player in serve-receive, and she's a go-to player in your offense no matter where she is on the court. And we talk about some of those peaks and valleys, and you want to try to narrow down those highs and those lows, and she's someone that is just perfectly steady in most games. I mean, if she makes a few hitting errors, it's very rare, and she'll bounce right back and get the next one.
Seeking her 8th double-double of the season tonight and her 26th career double-double with 3 more digs, but Wake Forest has something to say about it there as the Neiman Deacons out of the break come back and pulled within 1. Such a crucial third set here after these two teams have kind of traded blows in the first 2 stanzas.
And both now hitting around 300, so offensively they're pretty evenly matched again. When we had that kind of discrepancy in set 2 where Duke really came alive, pretty even matchup right now offensively in terms of numbers.
Gracie Johnson, another one, her 17th of the night. Tipped and a kill for Olivia Fish. Fish, another one of those freshmen who's starting to make a little bit of an impact now as we get later into the season. And I think it's interesting to keep talking about the depth for Wake Forest. And we asked Coach Smart, are you healthy? She said, yeah, overall, but everyone's a little beat up this time of the year, right? And so they're shortening practices. And she being Coach Smart, compared the month of October to like a baseball season. There's 162 games in a baseball regular season. Said it felt like there was 180 games for this Wake Forest team just in October.
Yeah, October just feels like that hump day, right, of your week where you just got to get through October, you got to stay sharp, and then, you come to November and you're like, all right, it's the home stretch. You got to really finish strong, pedal to the metal, but you're tired because you had a really big month, and so it's those tactics of shortening practice and resting and recovering and taking care of your business at school so you're not coming back to stress are really important.
Wake calling a timeout here as Duke has scored a couple of points in a row. The Blue Devils have taken a 3-point advantage, and Coach Smart just trying to, again, stop the momentum that the Blue Devils have cultivated.
Yep, absolutely. She's taking some smart timeouts here because she knows they cannot afford to give up strings of points against this Blue Devil team, and so she's trying to slow them down, ice them, and put together a few focuses that when they come back on the court, they can get that side out and get the ball back for serve.
We've talked about the NCAA tournament a lot, the NCAA committee with their second reveal as we take a look at where things stand now. Now, these are records through October the 28th, but you see a couple of ACC schools there in the top 10. Louisville at number 4, Pitt at number 8, but everybody trailing Nebraska and Stanford there 1 and 2.
Yeah, some pretty fun teams that mix to watch, and some pretty great volleyball. So what's also really cool to see is a mix of conferences there. You know, you've got ACC, Big Ten, SEC, Pac-12, and so just goes to show you the breadth of the volleyball skill and volleyball power across all the different conferences.
Well, what about the ACC this year? If you look at the league inside the RPI, you see Wake sitting there at number 29, but Louisville, we mentioned it earlier, Duke still having to play Louisville, the number 5 RPI, Pitt, a high RPI team, and Georgia Tech as well.
Yeah, there's some high RPI teams in the ACC, and the ACC is a great conference for volleyball as well, and so that's why every weekend you cannot take a night off against any of these teams, and that's why every win is so important, because those RPI scores really make a big impact when it comes time for tournament selection.
And, you know, we saw Stanford as the number 2 team behind Nebraska in that reveal number 2. Remember, Stanford going to join the ACC next year. So as good as the league has been, and that one hit the antenna, as good as the league has been historically and is now with, you know, Pitt and Louisville, it's going to get even tougher when Stanford joins the mix next year.
Absolutely. I mean, they're just going to raise the level of volleyball and add to it, which is going to be awesome to have that level of volleyball in the gyms in the ACC, and to be able to go out to the West Coast and play them as well, and Cal, and just a great addition to the volleyball strength of the ACC. Good
finesse there for the Blue Devils. 5 points away now from closing out set number 3, and Wake calls their final timeout. I want to stay with that point for just a second. As Coach Smart talked to us earlier, she's like, you know, trying to change the perception of ACC volleyball. And people talk about the Big Ten, or maybe now the Pac-12, and even the SEC, right? But this ACC has got teams that have been in the Final Four each of the last 2 years, and Pitt and Louisville, and Louisville made to the championship game.
That's right. Yeah, ACC is, you know, I think it's a statement for the ACC that it's not just a one-off kind of flash in the pan team. It's these teams are here to stay, and they're competing against the best, and they're beating the best. And you've got that too with Georgia Tech and Florida State right now, and Miami and other teams. You know, the top 10 have those two, Louisville and Pitt, but there's other teams knocking at the door.
And as we talked about, the league is only going to get better with the expansion. I mean, look at Cal, 19 appearances in the NCAA tournament, national runner-up in 2010, SMU, 2-time regular season conference champs, and then you got the big Stanford Cardinal there at the bottom. 41 NCAA appearances and 9 national titles. The stakes are going to raise beginning next year in the ACC.
Absolutely, and you know, all tides rise with the addition of these 3 teams, and it's going to be just great for the atmosphere, great for the visibility of volleyball, and volleyball nationally. It's been amazing to see just it get more visibility and more followings and more viewership at games, on TV. I mean, obviously you have the Nebraska game that was in the football stadium, and so just it's really cool to have volleyball here.
And Carrie Keefe going to be excited to see Stanford join the league too. A long family lineage with the Cardinal, probably the only one wearing Duke blue when those 2 teams may play in some of the other sports beginning next year. Blue Devils by 5, make it 6. The block again for Duke. Richardson and Fleming combining for the point.
Yeah, Coach talked about this a little bit too. Fleming is one of the best at closing the block. So Rachel Richardson doing a great job of setting up the block on Emmy Ugar, and then Lizzie just closing it, shutting it down.
Really important third set. Duke trying to win back-to-back sets after dropping the opener, and a stoppage in play here. I think the music was a little too loud. We'll just replay the point. As the kids say, it was lit.
That's the lingo now.
For some people, should probably never say that ever again. Duke by 6. And Wake gets it right back off this service error. Vibes are immaculate, Christina.
The vibes are immaculate. You've been looking at Urban Dictionary recently.
Wake out of timeouts. Carrie Keefe, blocked out by Wake. Really good swing there by Carrie Keefe, which had a nice match for Duke tonight.
Nice use of the high hands going off the block. It's a good solid block set up by Wake Forest, and so smart play by Carrie Keefe to swipe it off the hands.
Christina Barrow. A tough serve receive there from Crawford. A scramble at the net, and the Demon Deacons are there to win it.
Great heads-up play by Ava Carney and Emmy Agogar, being locked in and aware of where that ball was. You can see here, they're seeing the big jump by Carrie Keefe. Nice, both of them blocked 4 hands up. Nice way to seal the net.
A sub for Wake. Kendall Phillips will come in. Phillips, who's only played in 26 sets this year. She's going to come in as maybe one of those serving specialists here to try to get on a little bit of a roll for Wake Forest.
And if you remember, last time Emmy Agogar was up to serve, she had missed it long, and so maybe just trying to get a different look for the Blue Devil serve receive.
It was a knuckleballing serve there from Phillips, and it results in almost a point for Wake. Richardson on the attack, and that cross-court swing to the back corner for the point.
Great added to some transition by the Duke Blue Devils. I mean, that ball that was swiped by the Wake Forest block from the overpass, they scoop it up, settle it down. Nice high set to the outside, and a good swing by Rachel Richardson.
5 kills for Richardson tonight. Carney, that's out. Wake thought it might have been touched. Do the Demon Deacons want to use the challenge card? They do not.
Yeah, you can tell Ava Carney was going for those high hands again off of Emma Worthington, and just a little too high.
Dug out, kept alive. What a play by Bryant to get it across. Carney wins the point for Wake Forest.
With authority. She saw the space and she slammed it home. She did not take anything off that swing.
Tremendous effort by Bryant, but then this had a little aggression behind it.
Great swing. That was a nice high snap and crunch on that ball.
Still set point for Duke, though. A little bit of a misplay there. Keith does flip it over. Crawford. Now Worthington for Duke. Keefe. Richardson. Oh, nice play to keep it alive. Tremendous dig there by Wake Forest and Farrell. Could Duke terminate here? No, they can't. Richardson. Again on the back row. This lengthy rally. Carney. There's Johnson. Richardson times her jump, but Wake Forest with back-to-back points. It's Olivia Fish again.
Great block by Olivia Fish, and what a long rally. I mean, both teams were just getting gassed there after those back and forth plays, but nice block by Olivia Fish. Feels good, especially as a freshman.
Yeah, got it in there.
Getting that solo block.
Now flipped over by Worthington. Blocked again by Duke. That's in. Down the line, that time it was Fish with back-to-back kills, 3 straight points for Wake. And it's still set point for the Blue Devils, but they want to talk about it. Jolene Nagel doesn't like the way the momentum is shifted toward Wake Forest, as the Demon Deacons have scored the last 3, and they're threatening to get back into this third set.
And again, we talk about their body language on the Wake Forest side and the fearless mindset that they have, not giving up. I mean, you would not be able to tell that they were down this set. Olivia Fish as a freshman, Ava Carney as a freshman. I mean, these are some young players in big-time moments taking big-time swings and blocks, and they do not look scared or phased at all. They look hungry and ready to play, and it's really impressive to see such young players play at a high level and keep fighting like they are in this set.
And one of the young players that's having a phenomenal set, really a phenomenal match in the midst of a great sophomore season is Ava Carney, leading the team with 13 kills tonight.
Yeah, she is doing so. I'm so impressed by Ava Carney tonight and this season. I mean, she's got great shot selection, great vision. She's putting the ball in really good spots and then taking big swings when they're there. She's seeing the block with her high hands. You can see here, she's going to take her over the block into the top of the court. And she's been a really fun player to watch and an incredible threat to this Blue Devil defense.
We talked really at the outset about Carney, how Coach Smart said they've been working on her arm swing. You feel like she's been more consistent with her swing tonight?
Absolutely. I mean, she's really not made that many errors tonight. She's only made 2 errors tonight. And as a freshman in a tight match like this, that's really impressive because you start to make some mental errors when you get tight. And she's not doing that. She's taking big swings and getting it done.
Big swing by Richardson, but a tremendous dig by Farrell. And that one was tipped. And another kill for Carney. She's got 14. And the Demon Deacons are right back in it.
And the matchup is also really an advantage for Ava Carney with Emma Worthington blocking line on her. She can just hit line all day over the block or off the hands, and that's a great advantage for her with this matchup. 4
straight points for Wake Forest. Blocked, 5 in a row for the Deeks. Guess who? Carney in the fray again.
Carney, I mean, look at this vision. She sees Jess Robinson coming around the setter for that back row, the behind setter one, and just shuts it down.
Carney putting the team on her back right now, trying to will them to a victory. But the Blue Devils terminate with Jess Robinson. And it's Duke who claims the 3rd.
Learning to play in these big matches, they've got to be consistent and string those points together.
Wake will get the first opportunity here in the 4th set. Serve to Gracie Johnson. And Fleming tried to dump it over. Crawford had the swing there for Wake. And the Blue Devils thinking that Wake was into the net, and they were. A hitting error on Wake Forest, and Duke gets the first point. Blue Devils, by the way, have a couple of players, and Gracie Johnson and Carrie Keefe, who are both on the precipice of a double-double tonight. And Johnson with another ace. Her 4th of the night for a Duke team that has captured now 7 service aces this evening.
And this is the start that Duke wants. Good, strong serving pressure. Get a little lead. Make sure you get that buffer.
Bryant setting it up for Keefe. And Duke with the first 3 points of this 4th set. Go inside the Wake Forest huddle for a second. Down 3-0, down 2-1. Obviously, a must-win set. Let's say Duke rattles off a few points to start this 4th set. When does Wake think about calling a timeout to quell what Duke's going to start?
You got to call a little bit earlier than you normally are because you definitely want, do or die set here. You definitely want to quell that momentum fast. Oh, and great up. Emma Farrell is just incredible in the backcourt.
Didn't result in a point, but Wake has had some phenomenal efforts on defense tonight.
Yeah, Emma Farrell, I mean, she is so impressive to watch.
Another look. First, the great dig as Farrell digs it up. All night long, led by this youth movement, so to speak, 3 sophomores and 2 freshmen. I mean, Baker's been great. We've already documented how good Carney's been. Farrell with double-figure digs tonight for the Demon Deacons. Crawford inching toward double-figure kills in the match. I mean, this is a Wake Forest team, Christina, that while they're playing great right now, imagine the leap this team is going to take as a group going into next year.
Oh, Coach Smart and the staff have to be so excited because this team is really good, each individual player, and they play really well together. You can tell they fight for each other. They want to win for each other. And so to be this young and to have this much skill already and this much fight, watch out for the Demon Deacons.
Another point there for the Blue Devils. And just want to underscore your point and how great Coach Smart has been for the league how great she's been to all of us. I mean, was really open and forthcoming about just her team and the highs and the lows of a volleyball season. And look, this is an easy coach and an easy program to root for in the ACC.
Yeah.
And we've already seen it, you know, the building blocks that Wake has had from coach's first year to now. They've gotten better and better every single year, and Wake continuing to get better again this season. Now, granted, a tough start here in this fourth set, but to just underscore the point, this is an easy coach and easy program to pull for.
Absolutely. I mean, she was so fun to talk to, and she knows volleyball. She's a great coach, and she's a coach for the right reasons, and she coaches them the right way, and she cares about them as people first. And so she's just an incredible asset to the Wake Forest community, volleyball program, and the conference.
7-0 lead for the Blue Devils. Comes from a really humble background, and I don't mean this brings a blue-collar type attitude, not so much a socioeconomic, but just that blue-collar mindset. We're going to punch the clock and work hard every day, and her team has really embodied that mindset and that mantra, and you can see why Wake's had so much success. But right now it's the Blue Devils enjoying all the success in the fourth set, an 8-0 lead to get the crowd into it in Durham.
Yeah, watch this swing by Carrie Keith. I mean, it goes right on the inside of the block, sharp cross court. She's so good at that sharp cross swing.
And there's the first miscue of this set for the Blue Devils. Everything has gone right so far for Duke. By the way, Gracie Johnson with that dig a moment ago. Another double-double for Gracie Johnson. It's her 8th of the year and the 26th for her storied Blue Devil career.
Added to the shelf of accolades for Gracie Johnson. She's just incredible, and another person that's easy to root for.
Really starting to run out of superlatives for Gracie Johnson.
I know. Need to get on my thesaurus here.
8-2 now as Gracie Johnson colliding with the chairs. Whoops. Have to set those back up before the basketball season begins in a couple of days. Raises the top of the net. Worthington for Keefe. And blocked. Out. Blue Devils leading now by 7. Carrie Keefe, by the way, 1 dig away from a double-double.
Yeah, and Carrie Keefe, another player that she's not afraid to swing big. You know, she had a big block in front of her, and she just goes up and rips it, and she is not afraid. And part of that, too, is the coverage that Duke provides. You know, coverage equals confidence. When you're a hitter and you know your teammates are underneath you covering the ball, you can swing so much bigger and stronger knowing that someone's going to pick it up if you get blocks.
Another hitting error there by Wake Forest, and it's not that Wake has played terribly. The Blue Devils have played so good starting this fourth set.
Yeah, they've really just been in kind of perfect synergy this fourth set with their passing, with their offense, and it's really hard to respond to.
Another service error, keeping Wake in it. Obviously, Wake's played a little better in the last couple of points, Christina, but down 10-3, it's a must-win set. When does Wake think about trying some different things? They're calling that last time out, just trying to squash what the Blue Devils have built.
Yeah, well, they just made a different sub here. Dior Charles is in as the middle blocker, and so she's really known as a good blocker. When we were talking to Coach Smart, you know, her and Emmy Ogogar, although Emmy Ogogar was killing it on the slides today, so she's good on both sides of the coin, but maybe bringing in more of a blocking-focused, a front-row player is going to help slow down Duke's offense right now.
And an ace for Carrie Keefe. 9 aces for Duke tonight. And Wake now calling their final timeout, and Coach Randy Smart trying to do anything she can just to slow things down for the Blue Devils. But credit to Coach Nagel's club. Whatever she said after that third set must have worked.
Yeah, and you know, too, it's a lot of the senior leadership on the team. You know, I know Coach Nagel's always really good about letting the leaders speak in the huddles, and I'm sure Gracie and Lizzie Fleming stepped in and said, hey, like, let's finish this out, pedal to the metal, like, we don't want to go 5 with this team. Like, we need to make sure to take care of business, because this is not a team you want to mess around with. And so having that mentality from your teammates is going to make a really big impact and keep everyone focused.
And it's been kind of that two-headed monster for the Blue Devils tonight with Gracie Johnson and Carrie Keefe, who have been phenomenal for Duke. Johnson with 17 kills. She's hitting .517. By the way, Johnson's previous career high in hitting percentage for a match, .513 against Ryder. So Johnson could set a new career high for hitting percentage tonight. She's just been lights out. And Carrie Keefe, man, what a night for her as well.
Yeah, and these numbers are even more impressive because everyone in the gym knows where the ball is going. You know who your key hitters are, and it's Gracie and Carrie Keefe, but also a lot of these numbers are credit to the middles. As you remember in set 1, Duke got their middles involved early on with Jess Robinson and Lizzie Fleming, and so having your middles establish themselves early on just takes a lot of the pressure off your pin hitters because the blockers on the other side have to respect now all hitters. They can't release early on Lizzie or Jess Robinson because they might get set, and they definitely don't want to leave them with any open net.
Duke really having their way so far in this 4th set, hitting .571 so far. Duke's hitting over 300 as a group tonight. That one skims the net, trickles over, and now Duke can set it up. Richardson. Nice dig out by Carney, but more miscommunication there for the Demon Deacons at the net.
Yeah, that's a tough ball in general. A lot of times when it's kind of flying off the defender's hands, going high to the net, the setter, if they're kind of stuck behind someone, everyone thinks the setter's going to get that, and they're not there right at the perfect time. And no one really knows what to do, and it gets kind of confusing. So
Farrell had the nice serve receive. Keefe. Back row and in. I think Bryant thought that one was going to go out. It stayed in, and the point for Wake Forest.
Yeah, great rip by Paige Crawford there, the middle back, and she's really been effective in these last few back row attacks. And just, Wake trying to get some different looks in and go into one of their key hitters in different areas of the court.
Wake feels like they got to find some consistency at the service line, and just as we say that, another error for Wake Forest. 9 service errors tonight, and you can circle to that. If Wake not able to come back and win, you see what these two teams have coming up next. Virginia Tech here to face Duke on Sunday. Wake will take on North Carolina, the first of 2 meetings between the Demon Deacons and the Tar Heels as we get into the home stretch of the regular season.
And also a different look here. You can see Ava Carney on the right side. Oh, great up by Emma Farrell again.
That one just pinballs around before it hits the deck and adds to the Duke lead.
Yeah, but going back to what you were saying around, what is Wake going to do that maybe mixes things up? And they've got Ava Carney now on the right side, which is a little bit of a different look for her, and really nice job by Duke's block sealing that and not letting any space around for Ava Carney to hit.
Service error there for Duke. One of the things we've talked about a lot with this Wake Forest team is no matter what the score line says, don't let your emotions dictate how you play, and give Wake a lot of credit. They're still very invested in this 4th set despite being down by 10.
Absolutely. Have that poker face. Don't let anyone see your cards.
Tipped. Keefe over to play it. Now Johnson. It was tipped. Duke by 11. Madison Bryant to serve for the Blue Devils, where she was Duke's starting libero a season ago, suffered that season-ending injury just 6 matches into the fall campaign, and back healthy and having a phenomenal year for Duke.
Nice job by Dior Charles getting up against 2 blockers there on that quick set, hitting right over and through the block.
10-point lead for Duke. Farrell to serve. Tremendous serve, and nothing Johnson could do there. That's a really tough ball to touch there for the Blue Devils.
That is. We always say area 4 is where balls go to die. That is a key phrase there in the setting world. And so when area 4 is that left front area of the court, and it's a really hard ball for setters to chase down, especially when they're coming from the right side. And great serve by Emma Farrell.
Why is it so hard for setters to chase down? Just because of the angle of it?
Yeah, and the ball's moving fast toward that area, and the setter's trying to chase it down, and you gotta be really quick to catch it.
Blue Devils have not been quick enough on these last 2 points. Look at this powerful swing in the middle.
Yeah, Yeah, really nice block by the Wake Forest side right there. Olivia Fish coming up with another block. She has been really strong there at the net.
Fish has had a really nice match for Wake Forest tonight. Didn't get a lot of time at times this year, but has played really well. Another one of those talented underclassmen for Wake Forest. And Duke may be fortunate there not to be called for a violation. They do get the point and extend the lead to 11.
Yeah, I mean,
or to 9, beg your pardon.
Like you said, another young player for the Wake Forest team that just has so much room to grow and is going to be a big impact player for this team.
Oh, good block. Nearly hit the backboard. Bryant now off the tip. Another one for Carrie Keefe. 17 for the Blue Devils sophomore.
I think that ball went off of Carrie's forehead there. You can see everyone kind of checking on her. And must be nice to jump that high and have to block a ball with your head.
It worked out okay. 10-point lead for the Blue Devils. Must-win set here for Wake Forest. Johnson plays that one. The set in the middle for Gracie Johnson. And that's blocked out. Johnson maybe got away with one there, kind of short-armed it a little bit.
Yeah, the timing was a little bit off on her swing, so she was a little bit on her way down. Good hang time, and so was smart enough to kind of try to swipe it off of the block, knowing that she wasn't going to get a strong swing on that ball.
That one tumbles over. Keefe, another one. 4 in a row for the Blue Devils. And Wake can't stop the tidal wave of the Duke momentum now.
Yeah, and now this one going line, and you know, Wake's block trying to take away cross, because that's where she's been really cutting them these past few swings, and she sees that and just cuts it nice down the line.
Oh, a really good swing that time by Olivia Fish. But they're going to say point for Duke because it was out. I thought for a moment that one was going to be in. No real argument from the Demon Deacons.
I think I thought we have a touch call on the Duke side. I think I saw the down official signal touch. So it's going to be
yeah, wait. I thought for a moment we had the point for the Blue Devils, and I think Duke thought they got the point as well.
There's a little bit of a confusion and kind of a late call there, but
it's all sorted out. Wake gets the service back, down 20-9, and needing to find a run somewhere. What another play by Farrell. Crawford to the back row. Keefe, cross court, and long and wide.
Yeah, and Keefe, again, going for that sharp cross angle shot. She's really good at it, just a little bit too long. And again, great dig by Emma Farrell. She is all over the floor.
15 digs for Farrell tonight. Johnson, again, short-armed it a bit, tried to finesse it, and it hit the net.
Yeah, trying to take a nice little roll shot over the block. Just not enough oomph on that roll shot to get it over the block.
What do you think Duke's done so well to have this lead so far in the 4 set, Christina?
Well, I think they've taken care of the first ball contact, and the tempo when they have any type of free ball coming over the net from Wake Forest, they've kept it in a fast tempo, which keeps Wake's defense on their heels. And I think they just capitalized on the mistakes by the Wake Forest team with the missed serves and some kind of dropped balls. They've just, made sure to take care of business and string together those points.
Took by 10, closing in on another victory over the Demon Deacons. As it's Carrie Keefe going cross court, and the Blue Devils are 3 points away.
I don't know. 4th double-double this season for Carrie Keefe. And look at this angle that she hit this ball at. Just really, that was really impressive.
Blocked in. Wake recovers. Crawford. It's tipped. And the Demon Deacons get the point.
And there is no give up and go home with this Wake Forest side. They are still swinging. They are still locked in.
Carney back in for the Demon Deacons. Crawford to serve. Serves Richardson, bangs off the body of Fleming. And an easy put away for Olivia Frankie.
Oh, that was a nice defense to offensive transition there, getting the middles back involved. And Olivia Frankie was so pivotal in those early sets offensively, going through 2 blockers. Getting her involved was really smart play there by Ryan Baker.
Served out. Duke 2 points away from a 16th victory this season. Let's take just kind of a big picture overview of these two teams and your synopsis on this match tonight and where these teams go from here.
Yeah, well, I think, Duke's playing really well. They're not making a ton of errors, and when they do, they clean it up really quickly. They're playing really efficiently and having a well-balanced offense, so they just got to keep winning out this season to have a chance at the tournament. Wake, this will be a tough loss for them in order to have a chance for the tournament, but they've built on so much, and they're a really good team. And they're young, and so you have to remember that. And they're going to get better and better. And they have these amazing moments, like Coach Smart said, where when they play well, they play incredible. And they just have to eliminate some of those unforced errors, like serving and some passing.
Blue Devils with match point here. Kept alive. Johnson. Keefe. Right there was Torrance. Back row. Out. And Duke wins again. The Blue Devils with their 4th in a row. They've won 5 of their last 6. And the Blue Devils do it with that 2-headed monster of Johnson and Keefe.